All right, welcome everyone. Great to have all of you joining us today. We're going to hang out for just a minute here to make sure that everyone can join and get settled in. We are going to be talking all things XYPN Sapphire, so be sure to grab a drink and a snack so you don't miss a thing. I thought we could start today with some New Year's resolutions. Alan, tell me, what have you resolved for this year?
Right, so this is going to sound really nerdy, but we run our business on EOS, and Mary, my wife, and I decided that we were going to do a little bit of EOS at home. And so instead of New Year's resolutions, we've set some annual goals for our family. And one of those is that I am eligible for my 10-year sabbatical now here at XYPN, and so that means I get 10 weeks off that I have to take, which I don't know, sounds kind of crazy to most people, but for all of you who are entrepreneurs, taking or thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, taking 10 weeks off work is truly no email, no Slack is going to be tough. So getting prepared for that, getting the family ready for it, spending 10 weeks on the road, all that. So that's one example of one of the goals that we set.
I love it. Amazing, also impossibly nerdy. Taylor, how about you? You got a resolution for us?
Yeah, Amy said she was going to do a resolution speech. She didn't say she was going to put us on the spot. So, mine, I would say I have gone through and kind of selected my reading list for the year. So, I want to do 52 books this year. I can do it, but that's one of my resolutions. And the other one's just around my yoga practice. Mine does not include anything with EOS, unfortunately.
Tell me, Taylor, do audiobooks count?
Yeah, they count.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great. I'm happy for you. I'm just gonna stick to some old standbys, more steps, more water. I'm gonna keep it basic. Perfect. All right. Well, we're just past the hour, so I'm officially going to get us started. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Amy Arno, and I am the Director of Business Development at XYPN. Today, I'm excited to host this event starting with Sapphire. Discover a new way to launch your firm with XYPN. And today, we've got Alan Moore, XYPN CEO and co-founder, and Taylor Hain, and she is the Vice President of XYPN Sapphire. So just a couple of housekeeping things for any questions that you have throughout the session. If you'll just pop those in the Q&A module at the bottom of Zoom there, that's going to help us keep track of everything that you're asking, and we will be sure to get to those at the end. We will be dropping resources in the chat throughout this session, so keep an eye on there for anything that we mention. Also, when the webinar is over, you will be able to fill out a survey from Zoom. We would love to hear how we did. Also, please let us know any ideas that you have for topics that you would like to hear about in the future. We've got a few upcoming events that I don't want you to miss out on. We have Level Up Your Wealth Box, what XYPN advisors can achieve with a Premier Plan. That is going to be next week on January 14th. Also coming up, Affordable Digital Marketing Strategies for Advisors, a wealth tender approach. Look for that on February 4th. And then finally, Websites for Beginners, 4 keys to building a website that connects and converts. And that is going to be with Karin Haggard. So be sure to register for all of those and we'll see you there. Okay, enough with these logistics. Let's get to the reason you all are here. Alan, I'm going to turn it over to you to introduce yourself and talk about Sapphire.
Thank you, Amy. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Very excited to be here. I'm just back from parental leave. Actually, Monday was my first day back from being gone for 6 weeks. So excited to be here and excited to talk XYP and Sapphire. This has been a really exciting initiative for us, something that we've been working now for I guess a year and a half which has been a lot of fun. So again, my name is Alan Moore. I'm the CEO, one of the co-founders alongside Michael Kitsis here at XYPN. And I'm going to do a couple of sort of introductions and sort of lay the groundwork for Sapphire. And then I'll turn it over to Taylor, who's the real expert, as she runs the day-to-day of the platform. So it's hard to talk about XYP and Sapphire without first sort of going back in time a little bit. We launched XYPN back in 2014, so we're coming up on our 11th birthday, which is crazy, in April. And we launched with the goal of helping support independent RIAs who wanted to do real financial planning for the next generation. And we defined the next generation as those who weren't currently accessing financial planning. At the time, that was Gen X and Gen Y, hence the name XY Planning Network. that has now evolved into even more folks who simply don't have the assets to for an AUM model to be the ideal fee structure for all of these clients. And so when we got started, we knew there were going to be some advisors that we could help. Our goal was to help, what if we could help a few dozen or get to 100, maybe 200 advisors? And we've spent the last 10 years really building out the support platform that supports those advisors who want to start, run, and grow their own independent RIA. And I want to be really clear that XYPN Sapphire in no way will take away from our focus or our energy or our passion or our offering as it relates to sort of the prior membership offering that we had. And so we now refer to that as XYPN Emerald. It was previously just membership because it was the only option. So now you have two options. One is Emerald. And if you know us, if you've been following us for years, then just know that nothing about Emerald is changing for the negative. If anything, by launching XYPN Sapphire, we're looking to add more value to Emerald because we're going to be able to get some cross synergies and benefits from having sort of these two platforms. So across XYPN, both Sapphire and Emerald, we have three unique. So I mentioned EOS earlier, the entrepreneurial operating system. That is the operating system that we run our business on. And part of what it had us do was really look at what makes us unique in the marketplace. Others may do one of these things, somebody may do two, but nobody does all three in the way that we do them. And so our three uniques across all of XYPN are real independence, real financial planning, and real support. Real independence, I always thought it was funny when we first started XYPN, people would say, oh yeah, I'm an independent financial advisor with insert broker dealer or wirehouse name, and said, well, independent doesn't mean the same thing. I'm saying independent that you are your own firm, you control your destiny. What they mean is that you're a 1099 contractor of their firm. And so real independence to us means you own your business. From day one, Michael and I said we wanted to build a platform that we as entrepreneurs would have joined ourselves. So that means you own your own data, you own your own clients, you own all your systems. And truly, that gets down to our guarantee, which is you can leave at any time. We've never set up XYPN to be a place that holds hostages. If you're not happy with us, you're not seeing value from us, we're not delivering what is expected, then you can leave at any time with your business. So real independence, real financial planning. We believe that financial planning is the heart of the relationship that we have with our clients. Yes, most of us manage investments in some way or advise on investments in some way. Most of us advise on products in some way in terms of insurance or annuities or whatnot. But the core of the relationship is helping people really define what is their great life and then aligning their finances to support their version of a great life. That's real financial planning. And then real support is being the platform that provides end-to-end support. And so all of the solutions that you need in order to run a successful business are either provided by or connected to through XYPN. So we really want to be your one-stop shop that you know where to go, whether we offer it or we've partnered with someone, whatever you need to run your business. So when we talk, Michael did an advisor well-being study on the kitsis.com platform. You can go download that. We can maybe search for a link to where these came from. But the study was looking at advisor well-being and what impacted well-being the most. And super interesting study. You should go read it, especially if you're thinking about launching your own firm, because it'll help you kind of keep eyes on what matters and maybe what doesn't. But what was really interesting were the two questions that had the highest positive correlation, the highest predictor of whether or not an advisor had positive well-being. They were happy with their work and what they were doing. They were happy with their decision to launch a business, was answering the question, I'm working less than 40-hour work weeks, which, it's not like, hey, I'm working 80 hours. I love the grind. You can do that in the early days. You can do that for a few months, maybe a few years, but ultimately getting to a point where most of us launched a business to have more flexibility, more balance in our lives, because there were other things we wanted to do in addition to run the business. So I'm working less than 40-hour work week, and I feel that I can take time off without stress. Now, both of these are really challenging to achieve when you are on your own, by yourself, out there in the world, having launched your own business. XYPN is providing two support options to help address both of these. And really, XYPN Sapphire grew out of this need or these asks that we had from advisors that said, "Hey, it's great that I can build my own firm, I can make all these decisions and all the things, but like, could you just do some of this for me? Like, I just want somebody to do parts of this for me." And things like I just want to be able to take a week off without being stressed about it. Like I want to truly disconnect for a week. And when you have trading authority on your clients' accounts, you never actually get to turn off work again, because as long as it's just you or a small team, you have legal obligations to be able to trade on behalf of your clients. And so that's really what we've built Sapphire to be, is for the advisors who this is the direction they want to go, that we have a platform offering for them. So what does it mean to join XYPN Sapphire? We really have, I mentioned earlier our guarantee. And our guarantee is you can leave at any time with 100% of your business. It's your brand, your clients, your data. It is truly your business. We are not taking ownership. We are not trying to figure out how to hold handcuffs. Like this isn't a trap. It's truly an independent platform. And what that means is that what makes Sapphire unique in the marketplace, there are other corporate RIAs out there. Every broker dealer has some sort of corporate RIA affiliation model that you can sign up for. But what makes us different is that we have XYPN Emerald. And so Emerald being that you can launch your own firm. And so whereas at most corporate RIAs, when you go to register your own RIA, you're going to get a call from home office, and they've cut off your access to all the systems, and now you can't get your data. And now there's threats about whether or not you can move your clients and all of those things. It's a really contentious end to the relationship. It rarely goes in a positive way. For us, basically there's an easy button. You can just say, "Hey, I am no longer happy with Sapphire. I would like to launch my own firm." And guess what? We do that too. And so you can truly, if you sign up for Sapphire, we would like to believe that it's risk-free. There's going to be time involved, but it's risk-free in the sense that you can ultimately launch your own RIA and do your own thing if Sapphire is no longer meeting your needs. And so just know that that's there. EOS says the guarantee is all about making it easy to buy what you offer, because you know how to get out of it. I think too often, even as advisors, when we're signing up for technology in these platforms, we ask, "How do you sign up?" But we never ask, "How do I leave you?" And we hope you never leave. We hope you're here forever. But ultimately, we want to be sure that we can support you in that journey, because that's true independence. So there are two ways that corporate RIAs can be structured. And so a corporate RIA, just by definition, is a single RIA. And so in this case, XYPN Sapphire is the RIA. And you, as the IAR, independent advisor representative, I believe, can affiliate with an RIA. And there's two ways to do that. You can either do it with a independent 1099 structure, or you can do it with an employee structure. There are benefits of doing it with an employee structure where you become a W-2 employee of the corporate RIA. That is most typically, this is a blanketed statement, it's not always true, but most typically that is used when the firm owns the clients. They own the book of business and you are affiliating with them. There are times where you still own your book of business and you can leave, but it's not quite as easy. It's not quite as simple. And there is more oversight and overhead associated with being an employee, and just more requirements. We have instead decided to structure as an independent contractor. So what that means is that when you go to join XYPN Sapphire, you will still create an entity that typically is the name of your brand. And so for me, when I launched my firm back in the day, it was Serenity Financial Consulting. So I would have Serenity Financial Consulting LLC, or C Corp, S Corp, whatever the right structure is for you. So I'd have my LLC, and I would own that business. That business entity is then signing an agreement with XYPN Sapphire that basically outlines that you get to become an IAR of our RIA, how payments are handled, how data is handled. There's a bunch of legalese, and it's basically putting everything I'm saying on this webinar today into legal language to be sure that we're all on the same page of how things work. And so basically what happens is the funds from your client, so client fees are basically gathered by XYPN Sapphire, and then the payout is sent over to your entity. And then from there, you can spend the money however you see fit. You can take it all out as payroll. You can choose to leverage the benefits of owning a small business and cover some expenses, that sort of thing. The big difference between these two models is that you will own an entity, and your entity owns the client relationships, it owns the client data. And so that is an asset that can be sold. When you're a W-2 employee, you may have a book of business, but it's all goodwill. It's all like a hope and a dream that those clients will leave that firm. When you own the entity, you can sell that entity, whether that be, for whatever reason, whether you're looking to retire or something happens suddenly, or you're just looking to make a change. You ultimately own that entity, you can sell that entity, and then whoever buys it can choose if they want to continue their affiliation with Sapphire or ultimately go a different direction. So I don't mean to get overly technical, but I know there will be a lot of questions. We field a lot of questions related to these two models and how they're different. But we are very much committed to the independent contractor structure. It's not to say we won't ever have an employee structure, but at least where we're at today, we're really focused on, we think the 1099 independent contractor structure is the right way for our members, for us to be able to serve our members. So, when we look at sort of XYPN as a whole, again, we have these two offerings, Emerald and Sapphire. And I would say that there's a great visual here that it sits on the sort of a continuum of flexibility and support. If you want ultimate flexibility, you make all your own decisions, you want full control, you want to use whatever CRM you want to be able to, whatever, bill however you want to be able to select all the tools and make all the decisions. Fantastic. We have a model for you, and that's going to be a really good fit for Emerald. For those of you who are like, hey, it's great that you have all that flexibility, but I'd rather just be given a CRM that works and then know who to call if something's not working. I'd rather just know that my compliance is taken care of and I'm not at risk of being audited. I'd rather somebody else handle my trading. That's where Sapphire comes in. And so both of these have full independence. You can leave at any time with 100% of your business. The guarantee applies to both. But the level of support we're able to provide on Sapphire is significantly more than what we provide on Emerald. There is a little less flexibility. You have to use our CRM. That's just part of it. But we've tried to maintain independence where it matters the most, and flexibility. And that flexibility is around your marketing, that you own your own brand. You can, call your firm whatever you want and really brand it. You can work with the clients that you want to work with, and you can charge fees the way that you want to charge. And so all of that is available under Sapphire. And then finally, I know you're going to ask about pricing, so we'll just hit it up front. We have always been extremely transparent with our pricing and how we handle this. So, when you go to join Sapphire, we charge a flat monthly fee, $1,500 a month. And that is inclusive of all additional employees or contractors that you have. So that covers the firm. That's a firm level fee, if you will. So it's $1,500 a month. And then we have an 80% advisor payout. So, we keep 20%, we'll send you 80%. And so that is that's the way the fee structure works. If you look at that and say, I don't want to pay an advisor, or, I don't want payout, I want 100%. Fantastic. We have the Emerald solution for you. That is that model where it's just the monthly fee. But for that 20% of revenue, we're providing immense amounts of value and a lot of different things included in that. And so that is what Taylor is going to be talking about now. So I will turn it over to Taylor, again, who is our vice president of XYPN Sapphire and the real boss around here as it relates to Sapphire. So if you ever hear me and her say something different, whatever Taylor says is right and wins. That's how it works around here. So Taylor, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thanks, Alan. I'm glad that's recorded on video. Well, thank you all for coming to this presentation today. And thanks, Alan, for kind of setting the groundwork of really why we launched this option. I'm going to transition into what it actually looks like to partner with us on a day-to-day, weekly, monthly basis. What can you actually rely on our team for, and what do you really get in return? As Alan covered with the pricing, we really want to always be upfront and transparent with our pricing. I don't know what your your experience has been, but trying to find pricing for similar services to this or even kind of standard XYPN membership can be very difficult, gated. You need to have a call first. We want to make sure that you know before even considering this what the price is. So from here, we'll go into the big categories of what is included with Sapphire. And the first one is our technology stack. So if anyone on this call has considered XYPN Emerald membership, or as we've said, kind of previously, just our standard membership, the tech stack looks really familiar. There are just some small tweaks that are important. So for one, we have some additional pieces of technology that are just completely included in that platform fee. One of them is Holistaplan. I think every advisor on the Sapphire platform uses Holistaplan. That is just completely included for you in the platform fee. The other one is Pantera, and that's really included more in the sense that you don't have to navigate state by state or your specific regulator what their view is on using Pantera, or if Pantera will even work in your state, as we'll get into in the compliance section. You just don't have to worry about those nuances. So you can leverage Pantera if that is of interest to you or something you've been evaluating with your firm. That is available to you with Sapphire. The other big note here is that everything you're seeing, we are actually the ones who are kind of owning the enterprise level of the account, which means that our team in the onboarding process and then ongoing can provide support to you. So if you're having issues, if you're wanting to troubleshoot something, if you want to change settings, our team is actually available and can actually help you with those items. On the Emerald side, because again, it's kind of completely your own firm, your own structure, well, you can definitely reach out to FP Pathfinder or Holistaplan, for example, but our team at XYPN isn't able to provide actual tech support or troubleshooting. As Alan already mentioned, as your firm grows and expands, you can add on more licenses for any of these pieces of technology, and we're not going to be raising your fees. So if you do want to add someone to your advice pay account, we're not going to increase your fee by that amount. And the last thing I want to say really is that anything on here is included in the platform fee. Now, if you choose between eMoney and Right Capital, we're not going to have you be using both at the same time, but you're not going to be paying that, I believe it's 230 plus additional per month on top of the XYPN membership fee if you go the Emerald route. What we really want to provide here is just kind of a true plug and play. You have one price, you pay it, you get the tech stack that you need to run your business, and you don't have to think month to month, do I need to upgrade to a different version? How is that going to work on my invoice? All of that is really just handled by us. The next really big piece of the Sapphire offering is the compliance support and really the compliance structure that comes with this offering. So when you're thinking about launching your own firm, or if you're on this call and you've already launched your firm and you're just thinking about moving to XYPN to get more support, you know that you will be your own CCO, or you are your own CCO with your firm. And we spend a lot of time and we have programs with XYPN Emerald to empower members to wear that hat and to do that job. We're very good at that. We know that advisors can do this successfully. We have 10 years of proof that advisors can be their own CCO. I'm not here today to scare you with compliance. If you choose to go the fully independent route and launch your RIA, we have solutions to help you step into this role. However, the reality is that there are lots of negatives of being your own CCO, and mainly it's just the burden and the time that comes with it. A lot of advisors in their first year are using some of our kits, some of our programs like First Year Compliance Foundations to get up to speed with what it means to be your own CCO, to build a compliance program that you follow in your first year and beyond. And the reality is that that takes time, that takes effort, and for some advisors, it takes a lot of stress, and it puts a lot of stress on you. By working with Sapphire, our team and our CCO is your CCO. So we are building out the compliance program that you are then following. When we're thinking about this compliance program, I know we get a lot of questions on what does that actually mean? Some of you may be coming from situations or had situations in the past where your compliance team was a little overbearing. They may have had you do pre-approval of every tweet you wanted to send out. Maybe it was kind of kept in this black box of not really even understanding how you access the compliance team, what was okay, what wasn't. What we've done with building out Sapphire is really putting you as the advisor at the center of the compliance program we're building. We wanted to make sure that any choices we made of how to engage with our compliance team, where you had autonomy and where you didn't, was focused on actual feedback from advisors. So way back at the beginning, I think, or actually end of 2023, we did a pretty comprehensive survey of advisors who were interested in this type of affiliation model and what really mattered to you. What would you say? There's no way I'm giving up control of this. And what we got back was your fee structure. You don't want to be told that you can't bill in arrear versus in advance. Your planning tools. You don't want to say, you're okay saying, I'll use Wealthbox, that's fine, but don't make me use Money Guide Pro or Right Capital. I want to have choice there. And finally, it's with marketing, that you don't want to be hung up by waiting for approval, by following a very, very strict set of rules of what you can and can't say with marketing. None of that is to say, of course, that we are not going to be compliant. Our team has built out a post-review process for almost everything with compliance. So if you update your website, we have the compliance tools to review that after you've gone through compliance training and make sure that that fits with our compliance policies and procedures. But what that really means is that you don't have to be the one, as you're making these compliance changes, running it through your own kind of CCO filter of, is this okay? Is this going to come up in an audit in some, future time? You can really outsource to that piece of it to our team. And another big benefit is SEC registration. So if any of you are in our Facebook group and have heard stories from specific advisors, you may have a picture of just the differing set of rules and kind of different standards that advisors experience state to state. So you may be operating your firm and 100 miles away, you have a friend operating a different firm. Just because you're in a different state, you may be able to charge in ways that that firm can't. You may be restricted in ways that this other firm can't, based purely on where your firm is located. For some advisors, that has meant that based on certain interpretations by their state or their specific regulator, they haven't been able to charge clients the way they've wanted to. They haven't been able to charge monthly or quarterly financial planning fees, have had to leverage an AUM model when they haven't really wanted to. Some of that has just meant that it is a very onerous process of trying to navigate what your state is going to think about something, what your specific regulator's opinion is going to be. By moving to something like XYPN Sapphire, we are registered at the SEC level. So that means that you are registered at the SEC level. That means a simplified rule set. You don't have to be thinking about how different states are interpreting it. It also opens up some new options for you. So one of them is the ability to use client testimonials with the new marketing rules that are coming out. We have some policies and some guidelines on how to do this. This is one of the few things that does require pre-approval. You can't just put up client testimonials on your website without involving our CCO, but that is something that's available to you. And of course, another big piece of this is as your firm grows and expands, you don't have to be keeping up with additional state registrations, additional filings. Our team is handling all of that for you. So to really break it down, here is a big table of all of the things that when you're thinking about launching a firm with Emerald or doing it on your own versus affiliating with something like XYPN Sapphire, what compliance on a day-to-day or monthly basis really looks like. So filing with the states, as we mentioned, contracts with your clients, what's in there, how do you review them, advertising review, social media review, actually just making sure you're doing vendor due diligence in the way you need to. And a big one is exam and audit response. As you can see, all of these things shift the responsibility from you to us. In this structure, you would not be audited by your state or by the SEC. That would fall on us. All of these things are really coming from us, and you would be relying on us for guidance. So that was compliance. If you're thinking about moving to Sapphire and you have existing client relationships, or you're just curious on what the process looks like, the onboarding process is what we're going to talk about now. We have a dedicated transition and onboarding manager. They would be the ones, if you did choose to sign up with XYPN Sapphire, project managing your entire transition. So at the point you say yes, they would be meeting with you, making sure we fully understand what your firm is going to be offering and what support you'll need. If you are transitioning client relationships, that's this third bullet point here. We are going to be the ones preparing, sending, and tracking all of the necessary documentation and forms required with moving those client relationships over to this new affiliation. So yes, you have to let your clients know that there are some things changing on your affiliation and your support with your firm if you have existing client relationships, but we are managing that transition. The other piece that will take place in this onboarding process is the tech stack setup. And as I mentioned earlier, that is being done by the transition and onboarding team. So you'll get someone you can ask questions to, get training from, and really along the entire process, you have someone you can go to ask questions, make sure you're on track, and really feel good about the entire process. Investment management is, of course, a big piece of what we offer with Sapphire. And before diving into the specifics, I really want to note that what we're offering with investment management and the next slide on support are things that we've built out over the years with our TAMP that we offer with XYPN. So to be clear, this is not processes and support that we've built out just over the last year and a half. This has been tested for the past 5 to 6 years and really built out by a wonderful team who has been running our TAMP and that support behind the scenes. So when we think about what investment management support looks like, when you leverage and affiliate with Sapphire, it's very all-encompassing. So first is really flexibility. You can bring your own models if you are very attached to them. However, we also have our own models that have been designed by experts, collaborated on with our CIO so that you can make your life easy and say, I'm just going to put my clients into these models. However, there is flexibility there. So if you do have your own models, if you have specific client situations that you want to make sure look a specific way in terms of the model and the funds that they're in, we accommodate that. The second piece of it is the technology. You get access to Orion. That's included in the fee for performance reporting. And we leverage Orion's platform as well for trading. And that leads into trade execution. Our team is the one handling trade execution for you. This is an in-house team, so this is not an outside team or company or group that we're partnering with for trade execution. So you can actually ask our team questions. If you have specific requests that come up throughout the day, you can engage our team. This is a team that is really here to serve you. With risk tolerance and IPS, we provide both of these for you, so you don't have to go out and build your own. They're just built in. And then capital gains management. Tax and tax sensitivity is something that we really place a lot of importance on. If you're transitioning clients, we will really talk about the tax implications and make sure that we're comfortable with the plan there. But then throughout the year, you can set your yearly max capital gain, and we will be monitoring that so that you are not ending the year with any surprise tax bills. And then the back office support. This is really the piece outside of compliance. I think those two pieces are the ones that have been most life-changing for the advisors on the platform. And this is working with our support team on a daily basis. This means that our team is your custodial interface. If you have issues or questions or anything that you need to talk to Schwab about, you do not need to pick up the phone. Our team does it for you. So you just need to write a ticket to us, let us know what the situation is, and we completely handle it for you. That alone, I think for a couple advisors specifically on the platform, they've said has been the most life-changing aspect of this, of not waiting to get support from Schwab. The second is on preparing forms. So if you have account maintenance and new account creation, we handle all of that. Through DocuSign, we will be the ones creating and executing that paperwork. We also handle your fee billing for you. So if you are on an AUM model, if you're on a pure flat fee model, or you have a combination of both, we accommodate that and we are the ones executing the billing for you. So that's another thing you just take off your plate. We've talked about tech support. And this final piece really gets back to the beginning of our presentation with Alan talking about working less than 40 hours a week and truly being able to take some time off. We have a process built out that if you let us know you are on vacation, on a sabbatical, we will handle any cashiering items for your clients so that you truly can stop checking your email when you're on vacation. Because as we say, if you're checking your email, you're not actually on vacation. Of course, on top of this, there are some other items as well. We have lots of education and resources. Some of that's offered through XYPN as a whole to help you build out your firm, build your marketing program, get the support that you need in your first year. XYPN membership is a benefit of XYPN Sapphire, meaning anything that you were curious about with XYPN as a whole, you get access to by using Sapphire. So if you want to join a membership or a mentorship group that is only available through XYPN, that is available to you as well. For your first year, you get one-on-one coaching with one of our executive business coaches, which has been pretty transformational for some of our advisors, really helping you focus on what's most important in your first year, not getting distracted by all of the things you can do and ways you can spend your money and mistakes you can make. That is a benefit for you. And then ongoing, you have access to our executive business coaches. Another thing to note is through this structure, you don't have to go out and get your own E&O insurance. So that is just included in the platform, something that we offer. And finally, you get access to bookkeeping. So setting up QuickBooks, managing that on a monthly basis is just something you don't have to worry about. So who is Sapphire best for? We have some bullet points on this screen, but I want to point out really quickly that there is nothing on here that says you need to be at a certain AUM level or a certain revenue level to be a good fit. We built this platform to be an option for advisors who want to focus on the things that they do best, which is serving clients. And that can look really different depending on where you are in your firm journey, where you're coming from, and what your goals for your firm are. We do not want to be a platform that kicks advisors off because they aren't growing quickly enough, or a platform that says, okay, you haven't hit 50 million by this year, you aren't a good fit. We know that a lot of advisors on this call and advisors on our platform now, your ideal firm is a lifestyle firm. So that means that you may hit a certain point and that is a perfectly fine point to end for you. We want to be a platform to support you as an advisor. We also want to support firms that want to grow. So this is really just to indicate that there is not one specific type of advisor that's a good fit, and we aren't going to eliminate you if you don't have crazy growth goals in your first few years. This is a particularly good solution though for these kind of three advisors. One is if you're on this call and you have existing client relationships, as we've talked about, Sapphire is a really wonderful option. What this can mean is rather than waiting 1 to 2 to maybe 4+ months to get registered with your state and being able to serve clients, you can affiliate with Sapphire within 1 to 2 days, and we can start the transition process a few weeks later in terms of existing client relationships. So if you are worried about losing clients in a transition, having to explain to them why you have to wait and get registered, if any of that is confusing for you or causes worry, Sapphire is a really good option for you as an advisor. Another one, of course, is any advisors hung up with state level compliance burdens. So if you're currently registered, or if you are going to be registered in a state that you've heard horror stories of, or if you are just worried as a whole about what it actually means to navigate state by state compliance as a CCO, this is a really wonderful option because all of that is outsourced to us. And then finally, advisors wanting scalable back office support. If you're kind of at a point with your firm of, do I hire or do I kind of leverage a team like Sapphire that can grow with me? We're seeing a lot of advisors at that level of, does it actually make sense to start expanding my team, or should I leverage a solution like Sapphire? And something like Sapphire can be a really great option because we will grow with you and our team will kind of scale with you as well. And speaking of the team, it is not going to just be you going at it alone. We have this entire team full of smiling faces who is there to help you. Some of them are on the trading side, the support side, but you will get to know our team and they will really kind of be an extension of what you're doing for you and your clients. If you're curious about Sapphire, we have a great website that you can explore some testimonials, really more FAQs about some specific situations. And you, of course, can always book a call with our team to learn more if it's a good fit for you and your specific situation. And with that, we are moving into Q&A. So this QR code, you can scan to book a call if you'd like to do that. But from here, we'll open it up to some questions.
Awesome. Thanks, Taylor. That was so great. Let's see. So we did get one question while you were talking. So can you call your company a registered investment advisor with this model?
Oh, the technical details of RIA and IAR and IRA and such. So the risk is saying you are a registered investment advisor when you are not a registered investment advisor. Or I should say another way, the risk is that you say you're an investment advisor representative, that you are registered with a firm and not being. And so that's what Taylor was talking about in the towards the end, where if you leave your firm and then you're launching a new firm, the gap in between, you are not an IAR. And so you cannot hold yourself out as an investment advisor, and therefore you cannot solicit business. Once you are registered with Sapphire, we can do day one registration, meaning you sign up Monday morning. By Monday afternoon or Tuesday morning at the latest, you'll be registered with our RIA. And so you could, I think the technical way you would say this is XYPN Sapphire is the registered investment advisor, the RIA. And I, as a affiliate with Sapphire, am an independent advisor representative, an IAR, and affiliated with their RIA. So the most important thing is that you are registered. If you accidentally refer to your entity as an RIA, I think you'll be okay, as long as you are a registered advisor.
Yeah, and I'll just jump in. Thanks, Alan. I know that we get a lot of questions on that of kind of what is the client experience? What are they seeing? Am I saying I am part of XYPN Sapphire? That is the firm that I'm working with, is XYPN Sapphire, XYPN on all of this client documentation, things like that. The answer is no. Again, back with our commitments, we really want to make sure that you have your own entity, your own brand, and we know that that's really important. So as you're starting off with XYPN Sapphire, one of the things we need you to have established first is your firm name and your firm logo. But really from there, all of the documents we're creating for you, they will have your firm name and your firm logo. There will be some things referring back to a consumer-facing page explaining what the relationship between your firm is and us. If your clients actually read that, we'll see. But this is not something that you're going to be explaining on an ongoing basis of who is XYPN, why is that the person managing my money. You should really be able to hold yourself out as the person providing investment advice, providing the support that you are receiving through us.
Great, thank you. Just a clarification, they did follow up to say, how does that differentiate under the Emerald model? You are actually your own RIA, correct? And yes, that is correct. Under Emerald, we do get you registered with your state as an RIA, and then you are an IAR of your own RIA. I guess they ran out of letters for this whole business service here. Okay, great. So next question, can I pay outside solicitors, referral agents under the Sapphire structure?
Yes, that is something. I don't believe at this point we have anybody who's set up any referral fees or things like that. That would be a question that we would work on with our compliance team. The answer with most things compliance is that it's not usually a strict no. We would just have to know more about the specific situation and get some policies around it. So if we do end up having a call, I'd be happy to learn more about that specific situation. I don't think we have a policy in place right now, as the advisors on the platform haven't been leveraging anything like that.
Okay. Great. What is the total AUM under the Sapphire RIA right now?
Yeah, as of 12/31, we had 140 AUM. That is with 10 of the, I believe, 16 advisors having AUM. This month and kind of through February, we're in the middle of transitioning anywhere from 30 to 80 million. 30 has been initiated. So check back with us. It's changing pretty rapidly, but that's where we ended the year.
But fair to say that technically we are using the same, legally, we're using the same RIA for both TAMP and Sapphire. And so in the aggregate, when we update our ADV, it'll show just right around 300 million of
Yep.
assets that we are managing on a regular, actively managing and overseeing. Sapphire makes up about half of that. The TAMP makes up half, but to Taylor's point, we have probably 50 to 80 million that's in motion being added. So even if you are a bit of a larger advisor, have a bigger book of business, we should be able to accommodate that and be able to help you with it.
Perfect. Can you please elaborate on the underlying flexibility, i.e. specific mutual trades, specific mutual funds, ETFs, allocations, etc. under the TAMP? It specifically says TAMP tailored, but maybe you want to elaborate on both the TAMP and Sapphire.
Yeah, depending on, or if we end up having a conversation, or we can send out after this call as well, we do have our model due diligence kit, which goes through with each of the models that are offered through the TAMP and to Sapphire advisors as well, exactly what the funds are, how we approach building those models, all of that. So I think most of those questions would get answered there. The caveat is with Sapphire, we do allow more flexibility, meaning that you can bring your own models to us. That does have to go through a compliance approval process. You can't just say, here's a model and go for it. Our compliance team does have to really evaluate it, sign off on that being an option, but that is the flexibility we're talking about versus the average TAMP advisor that really only has the models as they are available to them.
Great. Okay, we've got a three-parter. I would love to leverage paid advertising paid advertising for free webinars to get more clients. Is that possible with said compliance?
Yep.
Yes, paid advertising is totally fine. And I'm assuming by paid advertising, we're talking about like Google ads, Facebook ads, that sort of thing. All of that is fine. Our compliance team will oversee advertising just because that is part of the compliance program. Really and what Taylor was talking about earlier, and to the question earlier, where you start to run into challenges or just things that you need to be aware of is when you are paying someone for those leads or paying them when someone becomes a client. Therefore, they become a solicitor and they would have to be registered and there's certain disclosures and all of that. And so paid advertising, fine. Solicitor agreements just require more hands-on with our compliance team.
Great. If you had no clients yet but wanted to break out and go at it yourself, is Sapphire a good fit?
Yeah, definitely. And Alan, you can jump in as well. The pilot group that we started Sapphire with, we intentionally chose a very diverse range of advisors. We had some who had 40, 50 million each. We also had, I believe, 3 of the initial pilot group were starting with no clients, starting their firm from scratch to really see, is this an option? Is this something that makes sense for advisors in that phase? And what we've kind of seen overwhelmingly is that this is a really wonderful option for advisors just starting out. As I mentioned, some of the things that you're spending a lot of time on in the first year, selecting your tech stack, building out your compliance program, those just completely come off your plate. You don't have to build processes around investment management, trading, any of those things. It's just built for you. So it does speed up the rate at which you can start really serving your clients. So it's definitely an option for people just starting off. A good portion of the Sapphire advisors are in that same camp.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say as someone who is hyper entrepreneurial, right? I've started multiple businesses. I love being in charge. When I launched my own RIA, the first thing I did was outsource to a TAMP because I realized there's so much involved in starting a business. And just we think that we're going to spend 90% of our time doing financial planning, but the reality is we spend that 90% of our time running the business and 10% doing financial planning, particularly in the early days. And so I realized when I was starting my firm, selecting all my own tech and building my financial planning process and going out and getting clients and the compliance and all the trading was just more than I wanted to take on. It's more than I had expertise at the time. I had never opened an account on behalf of a client. And so I signed on with a TAMP. And so I actually view Sapphire as a platform that I would have joined when I launched my own RIA, simply because it just reduces, in a way, it reduces the noise, it reduces the number of choices that you have to make and lets you focus on what matters. And success in this business is all about, are you spending the time defining your niche market, going out and talking to prospective clients and managing those relationships? And what Sapphire allows you to do is spend more of your time in those areas and let us handle the back office. So I think it's a wonderful platform for advisors who are just starting up. And again, if you want to start with us and then in a couple of years you say, hey, that's great, I'm ready to take more on, fantastic. You can shift over to the Emerald side and register your own RIA. Vice versa, if you say, I want to do it all myself and get started on the Emerald side, totally fine. If you, in a couple of years, say, you know what, it'd actually be kind of nice if I had a little bit more support and somebody else to do some of this work for me, we'll be here. So all the options are available.
Absolutely. Is the flat fee for Sapphire after the 20% of revenue or before?
It is before. So basically what happens is we will bill you $1,500 a month directly from your entity, if you will, on a monthly basis. So if you're just starting up, you don't have any revenue, it's totally fine. You'll just be paying the $1,500 a month. And then as we collect fees from your clients and remit payment to you, we will keep 20% and then 80% is paid out to you. So it is so the $1,500 a month is paid before the payout is calculated.
Right. Does the Sapphire team place all investment trades? If I recommend a stock or ETF or the client asks me to purchase or sell, can I place the trade through Schwab? I have some clients that don't follow a model, so it's more hands-on on my part.
Yeah, in that situation, you would just engage our team to place those trades. We have some cutoffs of, same day execution. I believe it's if you send it in by 11 a.m. Mountain Time, we'll have it processed that same day. But we really do want to have trading authority and really process all trades through us. But in those situations, we can handle those one-offs.
Right.
Yeah, it's a common question that we get of, well, can I just do my own trading?
Right.
Wouldn't that be cheaper? And the truth is, overseeing today, was it 18 advisors, eventually hundreds of advisors doing your own trading, that it is an immense amount of oversight and will be much more expensive if we were to offer that. And so as of today, we have a centralized trading team. You can make the decisions. You can say, I want to trade this stock, I want to do this. You don't have to follow our models. We're not locking you in. Nothing's automatically implemented. But we just ask that all trade execution ultimately runs through our team because we have two primary risks as a business ourselves. And the reason it took us 10 years to get into the corporate RIA world, one is advertising. If you're falsifying advertising, saying things that are incorrect, falsifying performance, that would be a major issue that would come to us. And then two is stuff to do with trading, either trade errors, front running trades, that sort of thing. I trust all of you to do the right thing, but we have to be able to prove not only do we have the policies in place, but that we are monitoring. And so because of that, we've decided that all trading will be centralized with our team. And so you just roll, we have a dedicated trading team. You can rely on them to execute the trades that you're asking for.
Lovely. Any other custodians besides Schwab? Can I add one that I really need and still be in the Sapphire service package?
At this point, no. This year, though, we are going to be expanding into multiple custodians and we're kind of evaluating what that looks like. We have not wanted to jump in too early to expanding custodial support while we were really refining what it looks like to operate with Schwab. But we're heavily looking into that in 2025. So I imagine that will change. But at this point, it is just with Schwab.
Yeah, and I will say there's sort of two groups of custodians. If it's Fidelity or Pershing, Altruist, one of the bigger players, that's what Taylor is talking about here. If you are managing like a 529 plan on some specific platform or annuities on a specific platform or something like that, just let us know because we do have relationships with some of those providers, not all of them, because there's a whole bunch of 401k providers out there. We do have relationships with some of those, and so we can let you know who we've approved for usage there. So just kind of depends, but our long-term vision, long-term goal, and it's probably going to be this year is long-term for us, is that you will be able to pick and choose which custodian you want to use. So if you want 90% of your assets at Schwab, but it makes sense for you to hold some accounts at Fidelity, that's totally fine. You don't have to be all in on just one custodian, but the custodian has to be approved and managed by our team.
Gotcha. Will my logo show up on client statements from Schwab, Orion's client-facing web pages, and other client-facing web pages?
Yes.
Easy. So just to clarify, in the Sapphire version, we do have access to a TAMP that's included that we can use for client assets.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. There's no additional fees. Sorry, Alan, you can jump in, but
no, you're
it's leveraging that team. There's no extra fee for trading or anything like that.
Yeah, when we first announced Sapphire, one of our advisors who ended up being a pilot group advisor, he said, okay, so it's 20% payout plus the 35 basis points to the TAMP. And I was like, no, 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 it's all included. And so, yeah, that fee is a percentage of revenue. We did it that way specifically to give you the flexibility. If you are a flat fee advisor or advice only or AUM centric or monthly retainer, whatever that is, we support it. You don't have to worry about us charging bips and you charging a different way. But it is a very common question. So yes, all of the TAMP services that we are referring to are included in that 20% payout fee, or I'm sorry, 20% of revenue fee to Sapphire.
Great. We touched on this a little bit, but just to clarify again, can you transition from Sapphire to Emerald?
Yes, yes, and yes. That is our guarantee to you. You've got it here recorded. It's in your agreement. We worked with a great attorney to draft a independent contractor agreement that you'll sign with Sapphire. That's what, again, that puts everything we're saying into the legalese language that you can hold us accountable to. But I promise we have no interest. We do not have a client-facing arm of Sapphire, meaning we are not serving our own clients. We do not have our own client relationships. We are not out advertising XYPN Sapphire or some sub brand to clients. So, like, even if you choose to leave and not use Emerald, you cannot leave your clients with us. We do not have the capacity, the capabilities to serve those clients. And so, one, yes, you can leave at any time. And two, yes, you have to take all your clients with you because the only option we would have is to give them to another advisor, which we could talk about if that's really what you want to do. But yeah, very, very common question. But yes, you can truly leave at any time.
And that does, I mean, succession planning is always a hot topic for everyone. So there is some opportunity for some organic succession planning within Sapphire, if that's on your mind. Okay, if clients want a self-directed account in addition to their other managed accounts, can that be supported and billed?
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to open up an account for your client at Schwab and they do a little bit of their own trading and that sort of thing, historically, most advisors that I know, when a client has a self-directed account where they're let's be honest, they're essentially day trading and kind of playing in stocks. That's totally fine, but that account is generally not included in performance reports. You're not billing on it, that sort of thing, just because the client is truly, it's kind of a play account. If it's a major part of their portfolio, and I mean, self-directed by definition means you aren't the one making recommendations and doing implementation, but if you are for some reason want to include it in billing, you can. But if you want to set up another account for them to be able to go trade on, that's totally fine.
Awesome. Well, we've got time for one more, which is perfect because we have one more to go. And it says, I'm assuming Sapphire growth will take off. How will XYPN handle the growth and capacity of advisors wanting to use the platform?
Yeah, it's a really good question. This is kind of why we've taken the approach we have with it. We are at the phase now, 10 years in with membership, that we can really accommodate anyone who wants to join that month with Emerald, and we see that going into the future. With Sapphire, it really is the opposite. I don't think there will be any point in time where truly anyone who wants to sign up in a given month, we would just say yes, if that's anywhere from 1 to 25 advisors. It's always going to be throttled a little bit. We're really vetting each other. You're vetting us, we're vetting you before signing any agreements and beginning the transition. So that process is slightly different than Emerald membership. But as we go forward, our biggest commitment is that we will not onboard too many advisors in a given month. We really want to make sure that we're growing this at a sustainable pace. Some of that is making sure that if you are an advisor with no clients, you're just starting off, that transition, of course, is a little easier on our team, easier for you. We can accommodate more of those in a month. If you're coming with 150, 200 AUM and lots and lots of client accounts, that's really different. So we would probably lower the amount of firms we'd accommodate that month. So it really is top of mind for us as we go forward. We know that the individual experience of each advisor, either onboarding or on the platform, is what we want to make sure we keep an eye on.
Yeah, no one hates saying no to being able to serve a member more than I do, but ultimately our commitment is that we will provide an excellent service and the service that you expect, particularly now as we get more involved in the investment side and with your clients and that sort of thing. So We only want to onboard as fast as we can support. So I agree with you. I think that we do have the risk and opportunity that I do think this is going to be a popular offering with members and with prospective members who are interested in joining XYPN, but Emerald wasn't quite the right fit. And so so if you are interested, I'll say that there is a little bit of a wait list, if you will, a wait list approach. And so reach out to Taylor quickly and let her know if you want to, one, book a call, and then two, if you want to be on the list. We had someone, last year who said, hey, I want to register next August. So he gave us almost a 1 year heads up, and we're going to hold his spot. He'll be able to onboard in August. So the more notice, the better, particularly if you have assets and existing client relationships, just so we can plan that. But if you have an emergency situation, we've had some of those of you left your firm and somebody's calling all your clients and you need to get registered today, also reach out. We are trying to hold some capacity for emergency situations, but we can't guarantee that we'll be able to match that. That totally depends on where we are at that week.
Great. This has been super helpful. I'm sure everyone came away with a lot of valuable insights onto Sapphire, and this will be available on our website. We'll also send it out to everyone that was registered so you can view the recording. Also, don't forget to schedule a call if you do want to hear more about Sapphire. If you're trying to decide between Sapphire and Emerald, book a call through that link in the chat, and we'll be able to answer all of your XYPN questions. So, Alan, Taylor, thank you both so much for your time today.
Thanks
everyone.
everyone.
All right, have a great rest of your Wednesday, all. Bye.